In this video, we'll go over subdomain 2 to 13 about cybersecurity incident and threat management in our way to build a strong cybersecurity posture. Control 2.1.3.1. The first control for this subdomain is to define, document, and approve the requirements for cybersecurity incident and threat management. This includes creating a set of policies and procedures that outline how the organization will handle cybersecurity incidents and threats. These policies and procedures should be reviewed and approved by relevant stakeholders, such as the IT department, legal department, and senior management. Control 2.1.3.2. The next control is to implement the requirements for cybersecurity incident and threat management. This includes putting the policies and procedures outlined in 2.1.3.1 into action. This can include establishing an incident response team, creating an incident response plan, and training employees on how to respond to cybersecurity incidents and threats. Control 2.1.3.3. The third control is to include certain elements in the organization's incident and threat management processes. These elements include Control 2.1.3.3.1. Having incident response plans and escalation procedures in place to handle different types of incidents. One of the key components of incident response is having a well-defined incident response plan in place. This plan should outline the procedures and processes that will be followed in the event of a cybersecurity incident, including the roles and responsibilities of different team members and any external partners or vendors that will be involved. The plan should also include details on how incidents will be escalated and communicated to senior management and other stakeholders. In terms of tools and technology, there are several that can be used to help with incident response planning and management. One example is incident response software, which can automate many of the tasks associated with incident response, such as incident triage, incident tracking, and incident reporting. These software can include features such as incident management workflow, incident timelines, and incident dashboards to provide a clear and comprehensive view of the incident and its progression. Other tools that can be used include security information and event management, SIEM, systems, which can collect and analyze log data from a variety of sources to help identify potential incidents and threats, as well as incident response playbooks which help the incident response team to have clear steps and actions to take in order to respond to different types of incidents. It is also important to have a set of incident response procedures that are specific to your organization and the types of incidents that you are likely to encounter. These procedures should be tested and rehearsed regularly to ensure that the incident response team is prepared to respond effectively to a real incident. Finally, it is important to have incident response documentation that outlines the incident response procedures, roles and responsibilities, and contact information for key stakeholders and external partners. This documentation should be kept up to date and readily accessible to the incident response team. Control 2.1.3.3.2. Classifying incidents based on their severity and impact, in order to prioritize responses. It is about classifying cybersecurity incidents. This is an important step in incident management as it helps to determine the severity of the incident and the appropriate response. In order to classify incidents, organizations can establish a set of incident categories and criteria that are used to determine the severity of an incident. For example, an organization may establish categories such as high, medium, and low severity, and criteria such as the type of incident, the level of data impacted, and the potential business impact. When classifying incidents, it's important to use a consistent and repeatable process to ensure that incidents are being classified accurately and objectively. One way to do this is to use a standardized incident management framework, such as the NIST Incident Management Framework, which provides guidance on incident classification and other incident management best practices. Additionally, organizations can use incident management software to automate the incident classification process and ensure consistency. It is also important to have an incident response plan in place that will help to quickly identify the incident and triage it, to be able to classify it and take the appropriate action. In addition, organizations can use threat intelligence feeds and threat intelligence platforms to stay informed about the latest threats and incidents and to classify incidents in the context of the broader threat landscape. 2 to 13.3.3. It is essential to have a process in place for reporting cybersecurity incidents to the National Cybersecurity Authority, NCA, as per the Royal Decree No. 37140, dated May 14, 2017. This process should be clearly defined, documented and approved, and should include the following steps. Identification. The first step is to identify if an incident has occurred. This can be done by monitoring for unusual network activity, suspicious user behavior, or other signs of an incident. Containment. Once an incident has been identified, it's important to take steps to contain it and prevent it from spreading further. This may involve disconnecting affected systems from the network, shutting down services, or other measures. Eradication. The next step is to remove the cause of the incident, such as by patching vulnerabilities, deleting malware, or otherwise addressing the root cause of the incident. Recovery. After the incident has been contained and eradicated, it's important to return systems and services to normal operation. This may involve restoring data from backups, reconfiguring systems, or other steps. Lessons learned. Finally, it's important to document what happened and what was done, and to share that information with the NCA as well as internally within the organization. This information can be used to improve incident response procedures and to prevent similar incidents from happening in the future. To support with this process, it's important to have a set of tools that can help with incident detection and response, such as Security Information and Event Management, SIEM, software, Intrusion Detection and Prevention Systems, IDPS, and Incident Management software. Additionally, it's important to have incident response plans and procedures in place and to train employees on how to respond to an incident. 2-13-3-4. Sharing incident notifications, threat intelligence, breach indicators, and reports with the NCA. This control specifically states that organizations must share incident notifications, threat intelligence, breach indicators, and reports with the NCA. This is an important step in ensuring that the organization is meeting its legal and regulatory requirements, as well as helping to protect the larger community from cyber threats. In order to meet this requirement, organizations need to have a process in place for collecting and analyzing threat intelligence. This process should include identifying relevant sources of threat intelligence, such as industry reports, government agencies, and private sector organizations. Once the relevant sources have been identified, the organization needs to have the capability to collect, analyze, and disseminate the threat intelligence data. To do this, organizations can use a variety of tools and technologies such as a Security Information and Event Management (SIEM) system, which can be used to collect and analyze log data from various sources, such as firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and endpoint devices. Additionally, organizations can use threat intelligence platforms which can be used to collect, analyze, and disseminate threat intelligence. It's also important to have a clear process in place for sharing incident notifications and breach indicators with the NCA. This process should include identifying the appropriate point of contact at the NCA, and having clear procedures in place for submitting incident reports in a timely and accurate manner. It's important to keep in mind that the incident response plans, classification and reporting process, and threat intelligence collection and sharing process should be reviewed and tested periodically to ensure that they are still effective, and to make any necessary adjustments. Control 2-13-3-5. Collecting and handling threat intelligence feeds to stay informed about new threats and vulnerabilities. Collecting and handling threat intelligence feeds, it's important to have a system in place for collecting and analyzing threat intelligence from a variety of sources. This can include internal sources, such as logs and network traffic, as well as external sources, such as open source intelligence, commercial threat intelligence feeds, and information from industry groups or law enforcement. One example of a tool that can be used for this purpose is a threat intelligence platform, TIP. A TIP is a software that aggregates and analyzes threat intelligence from various sources and provides actionable insights. It can also automate the process of collecting and analyzing intelligence, making it easier to identify and respond to threats in a timely manner. Another tool that can be used in conjunction with a TIP is a Security Information and Event Management (SIEM) system. A SIEM allows you to collect, analyze and correlate log data from various sources and can help you detect and respond to cyber threats by providing real-time monitoring, alerting and reporting capabilities. Additionally, it's important to have a document that defines the process of how the collected threat intelligence will be handled, who will have access to it, and how it will be shared with relevant stakeholders, including the National Cybersecurity Authority, NCA. It's also important to have regular reviews of the threat intelligence feeds, their sources and the process of handling them to ensure that they are still relevant and effective in protecting the organization from current threats. Control 2-13-4. The final control for this subdomain is to review and update the incident and threat management requirements periodically. This includes regularly reviewing and testing incident response plans, updating incident response procedures, and keeping up to date with the latest threat intelligence. In terms of technology and tools, a variety of different solutions can be used to support incident and threat management. Some examples include Security Information and Event Management, SIEM, software, which can be used to collect and analyze log data from various sources and alert on potential incidents. Incident Management Software, which can be used to streamline incident response processes, assign tasks to team members, and track progress. Vulnerability Management Software, which can be used to identify and prioritize vulnerabilities, and track progress on remediation. In summary, Subdomain 2 to 13 of the ECC focuses on cybersecurity incident and threat management. Its goal is to ensure that any cybersecurity incidents and threats are identified, detected and handled in a timely manner to prevent or minimize negative impacts on the organization's operations. This is done by implementing various controls such as incident response plans, incident classification, and incident reporting to the National Cybersecurity Authority. It's also important to have a process in place for sharing incident notifications, threat intelligence, and breach indicators with the NCA. Additionally, it's important to have a process in place for collecting and handling threat intelligence feeds. This can be done by using software like Security Information and Event Management, SIEM, systems, or threat intelligence platforms, TIPS. This subdomain should be reviewed periodically to ensure that it still meets the organization's needs.